Let's get over to the phones because waiting for us on the other line is the director of the Rockford Regional Office of the Better Business Bureau. It's our friend Dennis Horton. Dennis, good morning to you.
Good morning, Riley.
How's everything going this morning?
Well, it was real good until you moved that forecast on me.
Yeah, I know. I have the ability to wreck someone's day in a couple of sentences. Some people have their gifts. We thought of you earlier this morning, Dennis. Joe and I were talking about this phone scammer pretending to be the McDonald's CEO, nearly conning a Pennsylvania McDonald's out of thousands of dollars. Did the old, hey, run next door and grab up a bunch of gift cards and then come back and give me the PIN number. We're going to give those out. Well, the person bought the cards and then thought better of it and got in touch with authorities. No money changed hands, but it was just that close. But it was the gift cards that raised the red flag.
Absolutely. This has been ongoing. We've talked about it before. Just locally, I have a friend who works for a nonprofit, got an email, not a phone call, got an email from someone purporting to be the executive director of the nonprofit to go out and buy gift cards for the staff because they had worked so hard during the pandemic. Went out and bought the cards and then thought before I call back and give the PIN number, I better check with the executive director. She did. And fortunately, she was able to return the cards to Walgreens. But this is ongoing. We had the same thing happen with our CEO. He got a phone call saying that our CFO got a phone call that our CEO needed to send money to the New York BBB, and they caught it early on, but that same thing is happening across the country, and everyone in a work environment needs to be very cautious about any email or any phone call that you get.
And we use the information that we've gotten from you so many times when we were talking about this story. When someone says, hey, I need that payment in gift cards, you need to run the other way.
Exactly. And that's no legitimate company is going to want you to pay them in gift cards for anything or any reason. So the moment you hear that, you're right, run the other way.
Yep, it's a good idea, and luckily this person did at the last possible moment. All right, looking at the topics we have up this morning, cards come into play, but it's vaccine cards and identity theft.
Yeah, with more people getting their first shots and being very happy about it, wanting to share the good news with their friends on social media, then they post their cards. The problem with that is that you're opening yourself up to identity theft. When one of my friends got his shot, he posted the card, and I suggested you might want to pull that down. And the same thing for everyone. It has your name and birth date on it, and the question many people ask is, well, that's that's not very much information. But you have to think about identity theft more like a puzzle. And if you have provided your name and your birth date, those are two pieces to the puzzle that an identity thief can use. First, your birth date is tied to your Social Security number, and if you are still living in the same state where you first applied for your Social Security number, they can start to work on figuring out what your Social Security number is. And they can also then look at your social media site and see, mother's name is so-and-so. There's another piece of the puzzle for a security question. Your high school, there's another piece of the puzzle for another security question. They don't just the security identity theft doesn't just happen immediately. It takes time to build the profile for that person before they can crack your security and rip you off. So what you want to not provide information online, on social media, personal information like that, because you are opening yourself up to identity theft.
And as you mentioned, you're basically saying, okay, here's another piece of the puzzle that you're putting together on ways to take my identity. Let's see if I can't streamline this for you a little bit.
Yes. And it's an overall problem with what you do online. You should always try to protect or keep your information pretty basic on your social media platforms, so that you are protected to some degree from identity theft.
And for those thinking, do they really go to all that trouble? Will they really try to figure out what my social security number is based on my birthday and the state that I'm from? Yeah, they will. And it's made them millions of dollars doing that.
Exactly. And again, as I repeat all the time, these scams continue to happen because they're lucrative. And as long as they're making money at it, they'll do it. It's their job.
Yeah, and the minute people start to get wise to it, and they get far more rejections than they get anybody saying yes to it, then they'll move on to scam plan B.
That's right. And it may be just a little tweak to the scam, but then it'll surprise people, and they'll fall for it.
So go ahead and let people know you got the vaccine. You don't need to post a card. Don't put your personal information up there. I can remember when my nephew got his driver's license. First thing he did is he posted it.
with everything.
with just everything on it. It was up for about 5 minutes before apparently his phone rang off the wall, and so did mom and dad screaming, "What? Make him stop, delete that, get that off there." He had no idea. It was just the proudest day of his life that he'd gotten his driver's license. He just wanted to share it with everybody.
Yes, and keep in mind that anything that you post digitally is going to be there forever. Even after you take it down, it'll still be there.
Yep, there are aggregation sites that they keep it all right there, and it never goes away. Next, we move on to spring home repair scams. Oh, yeah, 'tis the season, isn't it?
It is, and we're not looking for severe weather today, but along with the spring home repair scams, you want to make sure that now that it is time to begin those renovation projects, outdoor or indoor renovation projects, or getting that roof done, whatever your project is, you want to make sure that you are using a contractor that you can trust. Every year, hundreds of home improvement scams are reported to us, and people lose generally about $1,000 when they get hooked up with a bad contractor. So here's a warning. Look before you leap sort of warning. Don't just sign up with the first person that you contact. You really want to get 3 or 4 estimates, and then compare what each one of those estimates say, and then ask questions of those potential contractors that you may use, so that you go in with your eyes open as to what it's going to cost, how long it's going to take, if they're insured, if they have to be licensed, that they are licensed, if they're going to use a subcontractor, for instance, that who is that subcontractor, and do they meet those same qualifications? And at the end, in pertaining to subcontractors, once the job is completed, you want to make sure that that subcontractor has been paid as well, because if not, they may put a lien on your properties because they haven't been paid. And ultimately, while you may think that it's the contractor who is at fault, they're going to go after you to force that contractor to pay them.
Yeah, which is a mess any way you look at it. And one of the services I know that you guys offer at the Better Business Bureau is you run a check on potential people that someone might hire. So if you talk to someone about, oh man, a tree fell on my house or whatever else happened, the BBB keeps records on companies with, a big thumbs up or a thumbs down next to them.
That's right. Along with having a business profile and a complaint history, you can also look at reviews that are written by people who have used that contractor. Was it a good experience or was it a bad experience? Did they meet the marks as prescribed in the contract or not? Did they run off with your money? That is a huge issue, especially if a contractor asks you to pay in full up front. Absolutely not. Yeah,
that's I need 100% of everything before I do anything. Where's your impetus to continue the job?
Yes, and when that contractor says to you, if a contractor says to you, well, I need you to pay 50% down so that I can go buy supplies. You're dealing with someone who has an issue in running their business, if they don't have accounts where they can purchase the materials needed for the job, and you have to pay up front to get those materials, I would be very leery of working with those people.
Yep, and that's not to say that someone asking for a little earnest money in something is such a bad thing, but it should be someone that you know is reliable.
That's right. And a third is what we recommend that you pay, and then you set up an actual schedule with the contractor as to how they will be paid for the duration of the project. But anything more than half, you should balk at and simply not do it.
Yep, and be on the lookout too, because I remember last August when we had that tornado and stuff sweep through here. One of the byproducts of it was the birch tree in our front yard came tumbling down on top of and totaled my daughter's car, which was sitting in the driveway. Well, within a week, about 6 different people came up and knocked on the door and offered their services with tree removal, stump removal, car repair, car removal. And many of them had no markings whatsoever of belonging or working for any particular company. Some of them, made it easy to say no to because they just looked so shifty when they were at the door. But others had a pretty good line of BS that they were ready to crank out for me, too.
And the first question you ask, show me your solicitation permit. Did you go to the city of Rockford or Loves Park or Majesty Park or wherever you live and get a permit to be able to go door to door? If they can't produce that, slam the door on them.
That's a great idea, too. And if you haven't done it yet, and ask them about, are you bonded and insured?
Yes. And if they can't produce that and show you, granted, almost everything can be forged, but at least you have some idea and write it down. And if you need to, perhaps follow up. You can check on someone's licensing. It's easy. Just contact, if it's a roofer, for instance, you can check the Illinois Department of IDPPH. It's a long title, but call us at BBB and we will tell you
you go.
Which website to check, because I don't want to tell you the wrong title.
That's all right. Get in touch with the BBB. They can put you in touch with the right people. And finally on our list this morning, heads up on password managers.
This is something that popped up in front of me last night. And how many passwords do you have?
Oh, well, too many.
Yeah, we all have too many. And many of us try, but we don't always succeed at changing those passwords when necessary. At work, they kind of force you in to change your password.
True.
Because the machinery won't work if you don't change it. But you have this long list of passwords, and password managers are really good to have. Most people don't use them and should. The heads up is that one of the most popular, LastPass, is currently free, but they're going to start to charge if you want to use it on multiple platforms. So if you want to use it on your mobile device and then also on your laptop or computer, then they're going to start to charge you a monthly fee. And I wanted to let people be aware of that. You'll start to pay that monthly fee, and that fee would be $2.95 for the first year, and then it's $3, and it's a recurring fee. So if you are going to use LastPass, or if you decide you don't want to pay for this service, then now is the time to start to look for a replacement, and one that's going to fit your needs.
But having a password manager, though, good idea.
It's an excellent idea. Again, unless you're a savant, how many of us can remember all of those different passwords that we have? And because we don't remember them, we choose one, and we tend to use them over and over. In the report that I read, it said that over 50% of the people still use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, wow. And I was going to say, and going back to what we had talked about earlier, you put your vaccine card up there and they get your date of birth. A lot of people use the year they were born, too, as their password.
Exactly. So we should be changing them. There are mechanisms to help us remember them rather than just putting a sticky note on your laptop. Using a password manager is a good idea. I just wanted to make sure that people know that if you are a person using LastPass, that down the road here in the near future, you're going to have to pay for the service if you want to have their premium benefits. And if LastPass is starting to charge, their competitors who are also not charging are probably not going to be far behind.
Oh, no. They see somebody making it rain. They're going to jump in on that, too.
Right.
That's brilliant. Good idea. And I hadn't really considered one. And, rather than, like you said, I sure do go through the Post-it notes. I'm going to look into this one myself. All right.
Yeah, also, your browser on your computer, for instance, also has a password manager.
Yep.
You might consider using those.
Yeah, I know Chrome offers it, and there's a bunch of others that do as well. So yeah, don't be too proud. It's not a test to see who can remember the most, because in the end, everyone ends up losing on that one.
Right.
All right, Dennis. For people who have some questions, want to follow through, want to learn a little bit more about any of the things that you brought up this morning, how do people get in touch?
You can give us a call at 815-963-2222.
It'll be a great call.
Visit our website.
Go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Or visit our website at bbb.org.
One of these days, I'll get onto this job. I swear I will. Dennis, as always, thanks for the wealth of information. We'll look forward to getting together again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Ryder. You have a great rest of the week.
You too. There's our friend Dennis Horton, director of the Rockford Regional Office of the Better Business Bureau, and a man who's good-humored about being interrupted.